Welcome to another lawn fawn video. I'm Kara and today we're gathering up all the foxes for a Flippin Awesome birthday card. And so that means we're using On the Beach, Really High Five, Butterfly Kisses, Life is Good, Coaster Critters, and Screen Time, just the cup, and Reveal Wheel Circle Sentiments, just the circle. The largest of the outside-in stitched rectangle in really rainbow paper, and here's the Flippin Awesome die, the main mechanism in white, and this is the scallop, which is part of the add-on, and then we'll put the little stitched rectangle in blue, and then the bigger squares in the really rainbow pattern paper, and then the smaller squares in the same blue, that's Moonstone cardstock. We have the regular tab cut in the pattern paper and also in white. Now I'm going to push some of this aside and show you some other pieces that I'm using. This is the Stitched Simple Waves, and that's with blue Jay Cardstock. And here's the largest of the simple waves, and that is in Cilantro. And then I used that again in the Gold Rush cardstock. Now that Gold Rush is great for sand because it already has speckles built in that look like sand. All right, well, I'm getting my stamps in the MISTI and all set up to stamp down, and I'm using some jet black ink because I'm going to Copic color and that's Copic friendly, and I'll stamp that down. Now I stamped it probably twice, but I only show once. So now I'm going to wipe those off with my stamp chamois and get to coloring. So I've got a lot of foxes here today, but I'm just going to focus on coloring one of the foxes with you so that you can see the way I colored all of them. And I start with an E11 and then find all my shadows and then come in with the E13 and fill in those shadows again. And the reason I do that is just if I start with my lightest and I don't like where I put those shadows, I'm not committed to having them there. It also kind of gives a base for a blending so that I can blend from the darker one into the light one because it already has some of that light there. And then I put in some E15 in the very darkest areas. Now I'm blending it into the body with the E11. Then I'm coming in with the R05 to redden him up and putting those, putting the 05 into the darkest areas. Then I'll blend that in with the R02 for the lighter red areas. But with the R05 and 02, sometimes I like the tip to tip to really get them blended so they're a little more seamless between the two. And he's got some warm grays for his white areas, and so on his tail and face and the tips of his ears, so W0 and 1, and on his belly as well. And then I'm going to go a little darker in his ears. Here's a W8 blended to a W4, and a little pink on the cheeks with an R20. Here are our foxes all colored up, and this is a BV31 for the flowers and shaded with the BV01 and 02. And I'm going to speed up this coloring so that you can see it all, but there's not much to explain really here. So I'm using 3 main colors besides the foxes. So I'm staying with the BVs and then a yellow. This is the teen family, so I'm using 13, 15, and 17 for our sunshine and a couple other areas as well. And then the other color I'm bringing in will be red. And I'm shading the sun so that it's got the darker on the outside and the lighter color on the inside. And then the umbrella post will also be yellow, and the outer parts of the umbrella, I'm going to color yellow as well, and I'm shading them so that the bottom of that umbrella, it has a little darker and then goes up to make it look rounded, and also like there's a dip in the seam between the sections of the umbrella. And I color the same way in the other parts, but I'm just going to show you this is going to be BV shaded then, and the reds, and then I'll have that all together and shaded. And we're on to the suntan lotion. I'm using the same colors, and then for the bottle it's the E-Teens, and then just shading that a little bit. And I'm on to the cup, and this is a red Solo cup. And I don't know if it's the same all over the world, but in the US, the red Solo cup it's kind of an iconic cup. So that's why it's red. And now we're on to the hammock, and it's in the BVs, and I'm just shading it so that it's darker on the bottom and also where it dips into the middle on the inside. And now we're on to the balloon. It's a red balloon, and it's kind of a dark red balloon. And I left a white highlight in it, but my highlight got a little smaller and smaller as I colored. I'm shading this balloon in R24, 27, and 29. So just getting the dark shades around the curve and onto this palm tree. Now this is the only green part, and I'm using a YG01, but I'm also using the 23 and 25. And here's the Cilantro cardstock. I brought this over so you could see this YG 23 and 25 are kind of a nice combination to go with that cardstock. All right, here's the E15 to show the sections of the tree, and blending it all together with an E11, and then some E13 on the side to shade it. And I have another one of those palm trees too that I colored in, but now it's time to put all the coordinating dies up onto the images, and I'll put some low tack tape down on those and run it through the die cut machine. And here they all are off to the side, and I'm putting together the scenes now. So I'm putting the grass down onto the sky, and I'm starting to stamp on the sentiment, and the sentiment is going to go throughout the scenes. So here is the sand for our sandy beach, and here's that part of the sentiment, and all parts of the sentiment are coming from the stamp set on the beach. And here is the water and the word birthday, and here's some more sand for our final scene. And this one I took off the first part of this phrase, so it just says my foxy friend instead of to my foxy friend. So we have a relaxing birthday, my foxy friend. And now we could put all the little pieces together for the scene. So this guy has a balloon he's chasing, and then we've got our umbrella with our guy who's going to be relaxing in the sand. And I need to clip off a little bit of that post so that it fits into our sand and into our scene, and tuck in that suntan lotion there. And here is the swimming scene. So this guy is from Really High Five, but he also looks like he's doing the backstroke. And then our little fox is going to be hanging out in the hammock there. So that scene is a little further away. So that's why he's a little guy. Now, I'm going to start with gluing some of these pieces down. So I've got the glue tube and putting it on the balloon string and the balloon, and just positioning things where I want them. Some of these are going to go off the sides a bit, but that's okay. You can still tell what the scene's going to be. Now I'll just trim off anything that's hanging off the side there. Now some of this I wouldn't have to trim off because the piece that it's going to go on is a little wider, so they could have been hanging off a little bit, but I kept them to the size of the small square, adding a few flowers to give a little more interest to our scene here. But I want to show you something with this fox. I could have done that because he also looks like he's diving. But so instead he's chasing his balloon there. And we're on to the next one. And here's the umbrella, and I'm gluing that down, gluing everything down, and clipping off the excess. So you hardly see much of that umbrella, but you still know what it is. And here's our backstroke swimming fox. I put him in there and got a sunshine up in the corner and clipping off the excess there as well. And then we'll be on to our final scene. And before I glue anything on with him, I first want to take an X-Acto knife and just make a slit inside that hammock so that the fox can slip down into it. So he looks like he's inside the hammock, and then trim off some of the bottom there and glue those two together. And now he's ready to hang up in the trees. So next I'll just glue down those trees and glue down the hammock, and then we're ready for his red solo cup. And the cup was from Screen Time, and it goes with those little kids, but it was looking a little big in his paw, so I'm just trimming some of the white border to make a smaller white border around the cup so that he can hold on to it a little better. Put some glue on the back of that and put it in his paw, and it's like he's saying cheers as he's relaxing there. And then just gonna trim off the excess from the trees, and our scenes are all set. Clear off some of the debris and put my scenes all together. And now it's time to put the mechanism together. So there are score lines, and I'm going to fold at each one of those score lines and take my bone folder and really get a nice crisp fold on each score line. And so taking my time to make sure that I've got each one folded well and it's all lined up. And then I'm going to flip it over and do it all again, because I want those edges to really be flexible where they can flip-flop either way. So that's why we fold them down on one side and then the other. And then you can kind of see how flexible it is now. So I'm going to fold it in half, and the tabs you see are on the back, but really I'm going to fold them forward. This is the back of the mechanism, and this is the front. And so on the front, I'm going to put my large squares, and I start with the one square, and I just butt it up to that first fold. And it's the same shape as a square, so it's easy to align. And then put some adhesive on each of those strips between the folds, and that's it. That's the only place I'm putting the adhesive. And then adding each square up to the fold line on each one of those spots that were adhered. So there they are. And now I want to put some strong tape. So this is the double-sided tape on the two tabs, because these two tabs are all that's going to hold the mechanism onto the card. And it's enough, but I just want to make sure that I've got strong tape to do it. Wrap that back around so it's folded in half, and then the tabs are wrapped around. And I'm going to put it on this white piece, the scalloped rectangle. So I'm going to take off the release paper and line it up where I want it, and I'm doing that with the non-adhesive side, so I've got it lined up there, and then I can just press down, make sure those tabs are tucked under, and there it is. It's all set. And I'm going to put on a decorative tab. So here's my pattern paper in the purple posies. And that's again from the Really Rainbow 6x6 pack. And then I'm putting inside a little arrow in white, and I didn't have to do that. You could see the white on there, but it was kind of a fun detail. Adhering that onto my stitched rectangle, just kind of centering that up a bit. And you can see I have it horizontal, but I'm going to use this one vertically. And you can use it either way. So I'm taking some tape and just adhering each of my scenes onto the center of the square and making sure I've got the right scene in the right place so that it makes sense when you read it. And just adhering each one down. Now this flattens all the way out, so it's easy to put each piece on. We're working on a flat surface there. So that's the third one, and flatten that down. And now we have our fourth one. And then I'm going to finish this off. There's an add-on where you could put a gift card holder inside there, but I'm going to tuck in this stitched rectangle, and it also comes from the Flippin Awesome add-on along with that scalloped rectangle. And I want to make sure it's tucked in so that it doesn't interfere with the mechanism, but it's a nice place to write a special message. And then I'm going to adhere the whole panel onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch side folded note card, and just make sure that's centered on there, and there it is. Our card is done. Have a relaxing birthday, my foxy friend. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today and it inspires you to use some of those images in different ways together to make some little scenes. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!